Let's go ahead and get started with James.
Well, Dana, just taking into yesterday in particular, as obviously you guys were the last pairing announced. Just what was that like watching, and did it start to get a little bit stressful there at the end?
I don't. I guess a little bit. I thought we were in, but you never know for sure. And so to be the last one announced in the 32 field, yeah, because I wanted to play. I think the guys wanted to play. We practiced yesterday, and so I thought the guys were kind of excited about getting an opportunity to play again. So I was hoping we were going to get that chance, and to be the last one announced was a little different. Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, Danny, do you have an update on Will's status for the week?
I don't. I know they're running some tests this morning. He's seeing the doctor and the trainers. So, but I have not heard anything, Chris. I don't know.
Zach?
Coach, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's the vibe like of this team right now? I mean, how excited do you feel they are to play in this? I know you said that anyone that wears the O on their chest should be excited to play, but what's the kind of vibe that you've gotten so far from this team?
Well, the only vibe I really got was yesterday in practice. We practiced for an hour and a half, 2 hours yesterday, and they bounced around a little bit. A couple of guys were sick. Dante didn't practice and Isaac didn't practice, but I anticipate they'll be back today. So, that's the only vibe I can get. We had 2 days off. We traveled back Friday, had Saturday off, got together at 1:00 yesterday and practiced, and we'll get together 1:00 today. It's a little bit of a stressful time. We got finals week this week, and I know the guys are, trying to take care of a lot of loose ends and get ready for some finals, get a lot of papers in. And so it's kind of a stressful week for them.
We'll go James, then Chris.
On that, Dana, this is obviously a really quick turnaround. So just what is the next about 36 hours look like in terms of when are you guys leaving and then turning around and playing a game amidst a finals week and everything else here in the midst of it, and your early impressions of this Utah State team who you'll be playing, like I say, in about 30 hours?
Well, first of all, we have had an opportunity to look at Utah State, and they're impressive. They're deep, play everybody tough, play really hard. They run their stuff. Experienced group. You look at all the teams that are playing, James, they're all old. They've got old players, guys who've been around, and the teams that make the tournament, one common denominator is they're old. And so and Utah State's an old team, very veteran team. So it'll be a big challenge for us, and they're very good at home. So we know we're going to have to play very well on the road to get a win. To answer your first question about travel and that, we still don't know. We're trying to find a plane to get us down there. We're trying to back it up with a commercial flight. We couldn't get out of Eugene. Everything was booked to Salt Lake. So hopefully we won't have to jump on a bus and travel all night. But right now, we still don't know what our travel is. Those quick turnarounds, and we started working on it last night. And I don't know how we're going to get there, but we'll be there at 7:00 some way tomorrow, but 7:00 Mountain, 6:00 here. But right now, I'm not sure how we're going to get there.
Chris?
Danny, what are your thoughts just on the Pac-12 as a whole heading into this postseason? Only got 3 teams into the NCAAs. You guys, weren't seated in the NIT. Do you think the conference is being overlooked?
Oh, I don't know. I know all those metrics and everything, play a huge part in this. I know that we slipped dramatically here in the last 2 weeks. from somewhere in the 50s to in the 70s, so, I don't know. Last year, I knew we were underrated, the conference as a whole. I really did going into the tournament. And I said, our teams are just better than this, and then we had a pretty good postseason. So much of it is determined, Chris, in the first 3 weeks of the season, with those tournaments, exempt tournaments, and that they kind of decide which conferences are good and which conferences aren't. And obviously, a lot goes into a long season. But, Arizona obviously got their due. They're very well recognized. A lot of people are picking them. UCLA, I thought, should have been a 3, maybe even a 2, but I didn't think they'd be a 4. I think they're, didn't get, as much recognition as they should. And I thought Andy's group and USC should have been a 6. So maybe they were off the line or so. But then, ourselves, we didn't do enough to get in. We were too inconsistent. We had 4 quad 1 wins, which would have been good enough to get us in if we'd have taken care of business against some other teams. But we were way too inconsistent, to earn that right. And, Colorado didn't have the quad 1 wins. Washington State definitely didn't. I don't even know if they had one. So, we got what we deserved. I'm not, going to complain. I hope the 3 teams in the NCAA tournament do a great job. I hope Colorado, Washington State, and us, can do a good job. We're the one that's got to go on the road. Washington State and Colorado got a home game, and the NIT is usually dictated by the home teams. And so, I hope they do well.
Zach?
Coach, I believe you said earlier in the year that some former players of yours reached out to you to kind of talk about the team. I'm curious if after the end of this season, any former players or coaches kind of reached out to you to offer words of encouragement or talk through things.
Well, I heard from, a number of our former players, they're still invested in our program, and when we do well, they feel good. And the guys we have, they're playing in the NBA, they got to hear it from all the other schools if we're not playing well, so they've got a big interest. But, try to stay in contact with the guys that want to stay in contact with me, and fortunately, a lot of those guys still, either call or text, and, it's great hearing from them. But I understand when they're disappointed. I understand when, they ask Coach, what's wrong? How come the guys, aren't competing, because they are invested. Some of them spent, anywhere from 4 years, 5 years, 2, 3, whatever the case may be, but they still feel like this is part of their program. And it is, the guys that have been here and won some ball games and won some conference championships and done some things for us. They own this program. It's their program. And that goes way beyond before I got here. I mean, that's Coach Kent's players, Coach Harder's players, Coach Munson's players, going all the way back, Coach Green, anybody who's coached here, those players, they all are invested in our program. And the ones I've been fortunate enough to work with the last 12 years, they probably have a little bit closer connection just because of the staff and the fact that it's recent.
James?
To Utah State specifically, Dana, in your initial look here, clearly their lead guy Bean averages nearly a double-double and has only been held to less than 10 points twice. So everyone in that league's familiar with him, and no one's really been able to slow him down very much at all. What have you seen from the few teams who have had success against them? How did they've gone about doing it? And offensively, it seems like ball movement is how they open up and create a really high shooting percentage. And I think they're 5th in the country in assists. Just your impressions of their offense as a whole.
Well, Bean, first of all, I mean, he just moves. He's got a tremendous motor, and hard blocking him off because he's just going all the time. Really a hard playing young man, and very skilled. And they do move the ball. Their ball movement is good. You know, a lot of extra passes that they make to get they got a good shot, they get a better shot with an extra pass. You know, it's testament to the Mountain West being a pretty good league that, they, finished at 500, below 500 in the league, because they are a very good offensive team. And, hopefully, we'll be able to change some things up to them, disrupt them a little bit, but, a lot of people haven't, and especially at home. Their numbers at home, are really good. So we're preparing to play a team that, at home, that has been a little different at home versus the road. So we're going to have to play very well.
All right. Anything else from you guys? All right, Coach, I think we're going to wrap there. Appreciate your time.
All righty, guys. Thanks.